The key to growing your butt is actually being able to fire it. And you can't fire it properly unless you're in a neutral pelvis. And then we're gonna incorporate all of our lady parts and our transverse abs with these exercises in a surge, okay? So the first things first, if you haven't done neutral pelvis before, literally you gotta get on the wall and get your pelvis right here in neutral, because when you're doing the heart butt exercises, you have to be in neutral, or else when you do your leg behind you, if you get here, you're actually contracting your back and not firing this glute, okay? So you've got to have that neutral pelvis. Then I want you to place your hands on your belly, and you're going to get in neutral, and I want you to squeeze your abs almost like you're trying to push out a poop, okay? Or if somebody was gonna punch you, you would brace like this. Or put your hands there and let's cough as hard as we can. 1, 2, 3. That deep muscle is the transverse abs, okay? So I want you to turn it on to a 10. Everybody squeeze hard as you can. You should feel it down low. Comes around off the spine and is below the surface musculature of the abs. And then go ahead and let that go. Now I want you to draw up your pelvic floor by trying to squeeze your sit bones together between your legs, okay? So this is a Kegel, and then I'd like you to add the transverse abs to that. So we're contracting that as a core unit. And we're gonna add this to the heart butt challenge because I think that we're gonna solve a lot of issues with core strength and getting the glutes on by incorporating transverse abs and pelvic floor with the glutes. So when I tell you to surge, what I want you to do is to squeeze the glute, the transverse abs, and the pelvic floor at the same time. And if you're not able to do that, if you're a total newbie, never done these exercises before, or you've been doing it and you've never surged, then I want you to just hold, don't do the 10 reps with me, hold it isometrically and try to get all of that on and the back off, where you feel glutes, transverse abs, and pelvic floor only, and then just rest, and then come back and do another isometric one. It is definitely quality over quantity, okay? And eventually, once you've made that neurokinetic connection, then you can do the actual movements. The other thing I wanted to brush on really quickly is that most people do not have a lot of hip extension, so it is totally fine to do these below the baseline, as long as that glute is firing along with this, with the abs, okay? So all I'm gonna do is just show you where your foot should be. So first of all, when you're on the ball, both legs line up like railroad tracks, and then you wanna have the foot soft and the knee straight, okay? Remember, your glutes don't cross your knee, so there's never any need to do this. That's not glutes, that's an incorporation of the hamstring, okay? So we wanna keep that leg straight, and we're going straight up for maximus. Then the glute medius is an abductor and an external rotator, and then you're lifting here. And then the minimus is also an abductor and an internal rotator, and then you'll lift here. Then with TFL on the ball, I really like this, but you have to use a towel or something that keeps you from sticking. And we're gonna lay over the ball like this, and you're gonna be lifting TFL here, okay? And TFL is right here on the side. Now, what I don't wanna see is nobody needs to push into the floor, and nobody needs to be way up here, okay? All you're gonna do is pretend like you have a tail, okay? And you wanna take that tail and pull it over your head. And it's all about the posterior pelvic tilt, tipping that bucket backwards. Okay, we're gonna do external rotation. If you have this much external rotation of your hips, you can do it with your feet together. If you have less external rotation, you can do it here, okay? I love it like this. This gets the meat.
This is my default.
Oh, you guys are gonna love this. Okay, so we have to surge. Inhale, exhale, find those transverse abs, pull that pubis up, and then lift. So you're going to take your knees together, and I actually want you to squeeze them. We're gonna incorporate a little bit of high adductor with this, okay? Take a breath in, feet are relaxed, surge, transverse abs, lift up and squeeze the knees together. Squeeze the knees. And remember, you're just tipping the pelvis. You're not trying to get way up high. You lose the glute hammy tie-in if you lift up with your back. So you don't want to lift up. We still have windshield wipers. You don't want to lift up like this. That's in your back. You want to lift up like this. Okay, one last little nugget for y'all. Put your feet right where the stripes start on the ball. Big time tuck. Hold it. Find your abs before you do this. Now, just do your knees out and then squeeze them in. And take them out and squeeze them in. If you've never felt your glute hammy tie-in, you are gonna feel it now. So if you want less hamstring and more glute, like if you're totally feeling hamstring, put your ball against the wall. Because you're having to contract your hamstring to keep the ball from rolling away. All right. I want you to give yourself a really big hand.